Hello everybody and welcome back to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn and in this video we're going to give some feedback on Moni's speaking test. So let's jump in. Good afternoon, my name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
Okay, my full name is Rejana Monisha, but you can address me Moni or Monisha because
You can call me, address me, don't need address me as is fine, but you can call me. But this part of the test isn't judged.
Moni and Monisha both are my nickname.
Yeah, so you don't need to go into detail here. The examiner will not judge you on how you answer the question. What is your name? What should I call you? So keep it short and simple. What's your name? My name is but you can call me and that's it. We don't need any more. Okay, thank you, Moni. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Where are you from?
Okay, I'm from
I don't know about okay. We know that many candidates have their favorite type of words. One of Moni's favorite words is okay. We should be careful about this. If you have many people respond with actually, many people respond with definitely, many people respond with yes, many people respond with okay. But you really, it makes a bad impression or it leaves a bad impression if you answer every question with the same word. So we've already started with okay. Let's keep our eye on it.
Bangladesh in Rangpur district. It is a northern part of Bangladesh and the oldest district in Bangladesh.
Cool. I would leave the answer there. I feel that's perfectly developed. We don't need any more information.
So basically, I'm from a small village.
Village. So this j sound. We know many Bangladeshi candidates have some problems with sounds like j, ch, and j. J, ch, and j. And it seems that Moni has this problem too. Village.
From in Rangpur district.
And do you like this village?
Yes, I like village hugely because
I like village hugely, I think she's saying, but again, that j. So now it's not just a problem with the word village, it's a problem with the word hugely. So that suggests to me that it's not a problem with the pronunciation of the individual word village, but it's a problem with this particular phoneme j.
the village people are very hospitable and very
Cool, hospitable, nice language.
amicable. They are
Amicable, not amicable, but amicable. But again, a nice word. Pronunciation isn't correct, but nice vocab.
heavier, and also I can get fresh fruits or
I didn't get the. I can get the fresh fruit and vegetables, I think.
vegetables or something like that.
But I'm having to work slightly hard to understand exactly what she means.
And also the village is less
Village again. So again, the problem with this word village, but enunciation, how clearly we are pronouncing things. There is a bit of a problem. The thing that I hear isn't the language that I recognize exactly, and I have to interpret a little bit to understand what she's saying.
noise. So I like village so much.
So we don't get any articles there. I like village so much. So I like this village, or I like the village, or I like my village. Some type of pre-modifier, some type of word before village is needed. I like this village, I like my village, and so on. But okay, let's move on. And how often do you speak to your neighbors?
Sorry, I didn't get your point.
How often do you speak to your neighbors?
Okay.
Again, we have that response with okay.
Okay, now I'm living a city in Dhaka.
And again, another thing I've noticed with a lot of Bangladeshi candidates is that they often don't use prepositions of place. I'm living a city. Now, remember, when we say in English, usually when we say where something is, not where as in like motion about going somewhere, but just the location of something, we often use prepositions of place. I'm living where? In a city. I was born where? In this country. I live next to the library. My house is far away from the nearest park. So very often in English, when we say where something is, we need these prepositions of place before that noun. So I live in the city, not I'm living city.
Dhaka in Bangladesh. But when I was
Oh, we got in Bangladesh there.
a child, I live in village, so
Again, pastime, I think.
Bangladesh. But when I was child, I live in
When I was siled, again, we have that problem with ch. So it's not just with j, but it's also with ch. And again, there's no past time. When I was child, we get no article. When I was a child, let's listen.
in Bangladesh. But when I was child, I live in
When I was child, I live in
village. So
village. So again, no articles. When I was a child, I lived past time in a village. Or when I was a child, I used to live in a village. But something that shows past time is needed.
as I was a villager, so definitely I had to talk every day with
Here we get past time here. I had to talk. Nice past modality.
my villagers because the village person was so amicable.
We've just had the word village so many times now. We've had it probably more than 10 times, village or villagers. So, find other ways. The people who live in my area or the locals or the neighbours. Or
So
again, we get that word amicable. So a bit of repetition of vocab. Let's listen.
every day with my villagers because the village person was so amicable.
Again, the village person was so amicable. Just one person or people in general? Again, we've seen on this channel so many times, one of the most common mistakes is that candidates don't use plural nouns. They only use singular nouns. So village people are amicable. But the fact that she's used the word amicable already just lessens the value of that word. Now she's repeated it a second time, and I hope we don't get it like a third and a fourth. There are other words, friendly, pleasant, kind, nice, generous, whole variety of words that we can choose from. Sometimes we have to repeat words, there's no other way around it, but where it's possible to show a range of vocab, I definitely recommend doing that.
So they regularly went to my house and
Regularly. It's a difficult word to pronounce, isn't it? Regularly. My tip is if you have those words, that are difficult to pronounce, of course, there's one option to practice and train and learn how to say them. But sometimes words like rarely or regularly, they're so difficult. Find a synonym. Instead of rarely, use hardly ever. Instead of regularly, use often.
and I also went to their house. So
Went to their, their. So again, we have a problem with the phoneme the, their. This is very common all over the world, people replacing the with the d.
that time I regularly talked to them.
Okay, let's move on and talk about friends now. Do you have a lot of friends?
Yes, I have a lot of friends.
So, not real paraphrase. Do you have a lot of friends? Yes, I have a lot of friends.
Basically, I live in now a city, so there are some of my friends from school friends and also college friends,
Some of my friends are from is school friends. Just strange grammar.
and also there are my some university friends.
There are my some university friends. So I don't know, some of my university friends are there or some of my university friends are here, maybe. This isn't the place for the there is, there are construction. So candidate has failed to understand that grammar.
So I have a lot of friends.
And
Here.
what kind? Okay, it's an attempt to develop. I don't think it's amazing development, but there is, she's extending her answers, which is good. What kind of things do you like doing with your friends?
Okay.
Again, we get that okay. Not massively overused, but I think this is the third question that she's answered with okay.
I like many things with my friends.
I like doing many things with my friends, or I enjoy doing many things with my friends, or there are lots of things that I like doing with my friends.
Like in weekend or whenever I get
Not in weekend, but at the weekend or on the weekend.
sometimes that time I go to a restaurant or new place or park. Sometimes also we choose
Just seems to be rushing a little bit. So I have to, really focus on the candidate because There's not much pausing, not much hesitation. Just listen to this point again. It just feels a little bit rushed.
Go to a restaurant or new place or our park. Sometimes also
Go to a new restaurant or new park or a place, and it's like, whoa, just calm down. So I like doing different things with my friends. For example, sometimes we go to a restaurant, but if we don't want to have something to eat, we can just do something simple like go to a park. I think that's a much more relaxed, calmer, organized way to put that message across.
we choose street. So I love to hang out with them and
Cool, hang out with them, very nice vocab.
also talk to them and gossiping and singing.
Gossiping. So it sounds like she's saying gossiping. Again, many candidates from Bangladesh have problems with the p sound, that they make it sound like a f. Gossiping, gossiping, gossiping. So p is not the same as f.
And several things, random things actually.
Again, actually missing that ch sound. So the ch sound is a problem, the j sound is a problem too, and the sound is a problem. And do you prefer chatting to your friends online, or do you prefer spending time with your friends in real life?
I prefer to meet with my friends.
Not much of a paraphrase. She changed from gerund to infinitive. Like, do you prefer chatting to your friends online? I prefer to chat with my friends online. Like, you could say that's a slight paraphrase, but okay.
In real life, I love to meet them in physically. Though I
Bit of a problem with the pronunciation there, just with the I love to meet with them in physically.
love to meet them in physically.
I love to meet them in physically. So this is a problem with chunking. We want love to meet as a chunked word. I love to meet, I love to meet, I love to meet, I love to meet with them, I love to meet with them physically. I love to meet with them in physically is the wrong type of chunking, the way we group words together.
Though I am chatting with my friends regularly, but I
Okay, so we had that though. Though I'm chatting with my friends regularly, I still think simple is better. Though I chat with my friends regularly. She uses but, and we don't need that word but because we already had though. So, though I chat with my friends regularly, I da 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 da. Though is a great cohesive device.
prefer to meet them in physically. It is quite
Okay, we get repetition of ideas, and we can see that generally when we're thinking about like candidates who are going to get like 7, 8 or 9 for fluency and coherence, they can extend their answers without repeating their ideas. Now, not all. In some questions there might be a little bit of repetition, but for me it's certainly a sign that a candidate maybe doesn't quite have that C1 level if in order to speak at length they have to repeat some of their ideas.
convenient to talk with them. That time we can focus on our gossiping or something like that. So, but
Speech has just become a little bit mechanical. Just listen again.
with them, that time we can focus on our gossiping.
We can focus on our gossiping. So the speech just sounds a little bit mechanical. We've lost intonation there.
Or something like that. So, but in when we were chatting, that time we didn't.
When we were chatting. So I'm not sure why we've gone back to the past now. The candidate has problems with this. I don't think she thinks a lot about, like, am I talking about the present now? Am I talking about the past now? I think whatever construction just sounds okay for her, she just uses. But this can be confusing for the examiner because we're thinking, well, is she talking about the present or the past? If she's talking about the present, why is she using past time? And if she's talking about the past, why is she using present time? Can be confusing.
Fully focus on our gossiping or talking. So I prefer to talk with them in physically.
I know you've said, and also we don't use in physically, in real life or in person or just physically. Not in physically, but we've had that same answer now 3 times. So again, that's repetition of ideas. Let's talk about photography now. How often do you take photos?
Okay.
Again, we have an answer with okay.
I am not an expert photographer, but
Great. I'm not an expert photographer. Great way to start.
I usually like to my photos.
And about this, I usually like. Usually, I prefer to use that with action verbs. I usually do something. I usually take photos. I usually eat. I usually drink. I usually swim. I usually like. To me, sounds a bit strange.
And also I took nature
And again, I usually take and also I took. And there's no real, there are no time words. When I was younger, I took. There's nothing, no time adverbials to show why we are going back to the past. And I don't know if the candidate is speaking about the present or the past, but just notice she uses the past verb.
like to took my photos, and also I took uh, natural photos like flowers, some plants, and particularly sky photo. I regularly
So why past time? Why I took? Why not I take? I don't know.
took sky
Again, I regularly took. Why are we talking about past time?
photos because I love sky. So whenever I say sky, and the sky was different things,
Again, we're right in the past again. I don't know.
different days. So that time I took some photos, and
At least we took some photos, which is the correct collocation, but that collocation was in the question.
it is also my passion. You can
And you also my passion. You can. Okay, it's my passion is nice, but you can. I think she said. I don't know.
my passion. You can
Yeah, I'm not sure what she said at the end. It's also my passion.
it is also my passion. You can
It's also my passion. You can. I don't know. And do you post any photos online?
yes, in online I post
Not in online, just online.
many photos, like when I hang out with my friends. That
Okay, we had hang out with my friends before, but okay.
time I post that photos, and sometimes I go to travel any new place. That time also I uploaded photos in my time.
Again, there's a mixture between present and past, so just listen here.
And sometimes I go to travel
Sometimes I go to travel. Okay, sometimes I go traveling, or sometimes I travel. Present time, right? Sometimes I go traveling.
any new place. That time also I
That time also. So that time suggests past time. That time.
uploaded photos
I uploaded. So sometimes I go traveling, and that time I uploaded. So again, I'm very confused about present and past here.
in my timeline. And besides, also yes,
But upload pictures on my timeline. Timeline is very topic specific language. Good stuff.
I'm a social butterfly, you can say.
Cool, I'm a social butterfly. I think this is memorized vocabulary, but I think it works here. I think, I'm a social butterfly. Can she. The question is about taking photos, though, so can she link this social butterfly to something meaningful? Okay, thank you. Not really. Let's just see what she said before that.
Social butterfly, you can say. That time also I uploaded photos in my timeline. And besides, also yes, I'm a social butterfly, you can say.
Yeah, so for me, that vocab doesn't score well, right? If it's like, what do you prefer meeting your friends online, or do you prefer chatting? Sorry, do you prefer chatting to your friends online, or do you prefer meeting them in real life? Oh, I love going out, so I don't. I'll go anywhere, like parties, restaurant, bars, going for a walk or something like this. I'm a real social butterfly. I just need to get out and see people, right? That works, but not. I upload a lot of pictures to my timeline. I'm a social butterfly. Those things aren't connected. And so this is an example of a candidate using rehearsed vocabulary, but not getting the context right, which so many candidates do. It's probably in the top 5 bits of advice that I give on this channel. Don't try to use memorized vocabulary in the IELTS test, because it's obvious when you do it and it leaves a bad impression on the examiner. But candidates still don't do it. They still want to talk about natural beauty and picturesque, breathtaking views, and I'm a social butterfly because I post pictures on my timeline. I don't know why candidates do it, but okay.
Say
Okay, thank you. Now, in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic. All right, so comments on part one in general. Grammatical range and accuracy is a big weakness. It's really tough to follow, especially with present and past time. There are also some other small mistakes in there, some mistakes with prepositions, which leads into vocab. I think in general her vocab is strong. She uses a lot of topic specific language. I don't like her use of memorized language, and there is a little bit of repetition of that good language, especially like amicable. But in general, I think her vocab is strong. Her fluency and coherence is all right. Sometimes she relies on repetition of ideas to speak at length, and sometimes maybe the answers aren't wholly satisfying, but she does have a good length of her answers. In terms of pronunciation, generally it's easy enough to understand her, but not effortless. So I can't say that I understand her effortlessly. I can understand her generally, and I can understand her by paying close attention to some of the things that she says. There are some problems with phonological features, especially with the ch and with the j and with the, and also a little bit sometimes she loses intonation and her language becomes mechanical, but it's not always mechanical. There are some instances of not bad intonation in there. So in part two, I'm going to focus on, I think, fluency and coherence. I already know the grammar's gone. I think I know what score she's going to get for the grammar already. Fluency and coherence, I want to focus on. Can she speak for 2 minutes without repeating ideas too much? And can she stick to the theme, stick to the question? And how organized do her thoughts appear? Is it chaotic, or does it have a nice flow to it? Let's see. So let's have a look at the question. So the task is to describe a person who has inspired you. Okay. What qualities this person has. This is a great chance to score with vocab. At all levels of English, we learn how to describe people, how to describe emotions, how to describe appearance, how to describe character or personality, and really want to focus on that language that talks about personality and character. You know, are they open-minded? Are they the, I don't know, the memorized life and soul of the party? Or are they conscientious? Are they hardworking? Are they diligent? Are they thorough? Are they generous? Are they a people pleaser? Are they a social butterfly, as this candidate likes to use? Okay, and also explain how this person has inspired you. Maybe some language connected to cause and effect, maybe, but difficult to predict the kind of language apart from what qualities this person has. But let's see. Again, I want to focus on fluency and coherence. Do we get a nice 2 minutes of logical, organized thoughts, or do we get a lot of breakdowns and a bit of disorganized chaos? Disorganized chaos, that's a tautology, Glyn. Don't use it. Anyway, let's go. Preparation time. To remind you, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Yes. Okay. In my life,
Can you start speaking now, please? Yes, we don't need that. Yes, just get into it. It's okay.
there are many persons who help
Many person, a lot of people, not many person. Okay, no more about grammar, Glyn. No more about grammar.
me all the time, particularly in my family person and also my some close friends. But I would like to talk you about my father.
Like to talk to you or like to tell you about my father.
So my father is a interesting person, and
Okay, interesting is fine, but the problem with interesting is that every single person in the world who speaks English knows the word interesting. I always think it's better to explain why the person is interesting instead of just saying that they're interesting, but we'll see.
also he is not only my father but also my best friend.
Cool, I like that cohesion. He is not only da da da, but he is also da 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 da. At band 8 or 9, we hear things like, not only is he my father, but he is also my best friend. Usually at like B2, we expect he is not only. So notice that difference. He is not only my father versus not only is he my father. Just a small difference between the word order, but yeah, anyway.
everything in my life I prefer to share with him, and he also very friendly to me, and he supports me all the time.
Okay, so what qualities does he have? He's friendly. We get answers to that. He's interesting. But again, interesting and friendly. I'm not blown away by that type of language.
So
But also, I'd like to see some evidence of this, which I'm sure, she has plenty of time. I'm sure she'll get to.
my father inspired me lots.
So it seems she's already jumping to explain how this person has inspired you, which just seems strange. I know the purpose of this channel isn't really to give you tips or to help you or to say, like, you should do this in your IELTS test. That's not what I'm doing with these speaking tests. The purpose is just to show you what an examiner thinks about. But just as a bit of advice, I recommend spending 1 minute on the pink questions and then 1 minute on the green question. It helps you to manage your time. So I won't go through the whole 2 minutes, but 1 minute talking about the pink questions, 1 minute talking about the green question. The problem the candidate will have here is now that she's started to explain how this person has inspired her after about 20 seconds of speaking, it means that, she'll do this for 10, 15 seconds, and then probably she will run out of things to talk about. So manage in that 1 minute of preparation time, really learn how to manage your time, really learn how to take notes to answer those first 3 questions, the pink ones, how you'll get 1 minute out of them, and then how you'll relax to get 1 minute out of the green question.
Of time, and he inspired me all the time, in my bad situation, in my good situation.
Okay, fine, but give some evidence or some specific examples.
Whenever I felt some depressed that time, he supported me.
Okay, when I feel depressed, he supported me, but this is an opportunity for you maybe to give details, maybe talk about a time when you were depressed and talk about, show how he inspired you or show how he supported you. Rule number 1 of writing drama or writing fiction is show, don't tell. So instead of saying he supported me when I was depressed, you can give an example. Like, for example, I don't know, I had an argument with one of my school friends, and my school friend said some horrible things to me, and I felt really bad. And then when I went home, my dad, he didn't say anything, but he could just see from the look on my face that I was upset. And without saying anything, he gave me a hug and he told me I was beautiful. And this is why I think, like, my father is such a special person, because I don't need to tell him that something is wrong. He's so attentive that he notices this in me just by the way that I look, right? That expresses the same idea, but that shows how my dad is supportive. I don't need to just say he is supportive.
Like, never give up, and he all
Never give up. Again, we have that problem with the put and the foot.
the time encouraged me to go
Encourage, again, that problem with the ju.
ahead. So my father is a honest person and
Okay, we get some more qualities. Now we're back to a previous question. He's an honest person,
industrious person, and
industrious person. But again, we're just using words, right? And that's fine. It's absolutely, you can get to a 6 or a 7 doing this just by giving vocab, but I really think to develop and expand the answer further, again, examples, evidence of this helps. It isn't enough to say, like, oh, my brother is kind and he is generous and he's very ambitious. And another thing about my brother is that he's hardworking. And my brother is also very conscientious, and he's not a selfish person. He's an altruistic person. It's okay to list all of these features, but at some point we want to develop them and we want to see evidence of this.
one thing is very interesting for my father. He has a strong mentality. So
Okay, we get another quality. He has a strong mentality, but do we get evidence?
whenever I felt depressed, he
Repetition of ideas. We've had this whenever I feel depressed.
he support me a lot.
So we've had that before, right? Whenever I feel depressed, he supports me a lot. This is the second time we're hearing this. And
Like
again, I think this is probably because she's rushed through these first questions and the last question. She did all of that in about 30 seconds, and now she has 90 seconds left, and she's not quite sure how to fill that time. So planning is really important for this part too.
if I tell you a story, in
Cool. Get to that earlier. So now we're going to get the story.
my after SSC in my admission time,
Cool. So now we're going to get to the evidence.
I didn't get my expected university. That time I was traumatized. That time he
I was traumatized. Very nice vocab.
inspired me to you have to
But again, just don't tell me that he inspired you. Tell me what he did to inspire you. Tell me the words that he said, or tell me the things that he did to inspire you.
complete your study and you have to go far away. So that
Okay, that's okay. You have to complete your study, fine, and you have to go far away. I don't know if that sounds very inspiring. You have to go far away.
kinds of help every time he did. So I think my father is
Okay,
the best
thank you.
person.
So yeah, it just runs out of time. Okay, so it's not massively well organized, I think. We did get a lot of good vocab in there, especially about quality, so that's cool. The vocab was good. I just feel the extension and the evidence that wasn't so good. The same type of problems with grammar and pronunciation. Don't think we need to say much about that, but I think she's doing okay. She spoke for the whole 2 minutes, wasn't wonderfully organized, but she certainly did all right. She didn't break down a lot, a little bit of reformulation, a little bit of, false starts and breaking down, but not too much. So you've been talking about excuse me, one who inspired you. Now I'd like to talk about role models. What kind of people are admired in your country?
Okay.
Again, we get an answer with okay.
There are many kinds of people. They are admirable, like celebrity, some kinds of
Cool, so she uses the word admirable. She gets the pronunciation wrong. Admirable. Admirable is certainly accepted, I think, by many people. I know a lot of L1 users who use the word admirable. I think it's okay. Admirable is the more conventional pronunciation, but I like changing that part of speech. That for me is a successful paraphrase.
celebrity, also such as writer or actor, or also some businessmen. Also, they all are admirable person.
People, not person. Again, so that real problem with singular and plural. So she's listed a lot of people, but can she explain why those people are admirable?
So, I love some writer. They are very expert writer. So they are
Very expert writer. Okay.
very admirable person. Like
Okay, now we've had admirable 3 times.
in Bangladesh, no,
But can you explain why they are admirable? Why are they admirable? Are they like because they are honest, or because they are very creative, or they make a lot of things that inspire people, or maybe they just look good, or maybe they have good brains? Maybe when people see them speaking and they see how confident they are, maybe this makes people think, yeah, I want to be confident like that person. Some explanation of why these people are admirable.
Rabindranath Tagore is a famous person who uh, wrote many kinds of books. So in Bangladesh, every person know him, and
Every person knows him.
uh, uh, they they read their all books. Like I read their all books, and uh,
Okay, so they're well known. You're explaining how they're well known because a lot of people have read their books, but why is this person admirable?
there are also many person who are
Many people, or a lot of people?
really admirable for their
Again, we get admirable now for the 4th time.
work.
And you mentioned, but there's no explanation of why they're admirable. So there's just a list of people, a list of kinds of people who are admirable, and then a bit of focus on why someone is famous because a lot of people have read his book, but no real explanation of why they're admirable. Celebrities. Do you think celebrities are usually good role models?
Not all the time.
Like that intonation, not all the time.
Celebrity sometimes is a good role model.
Celebrities are sometimes a good role model.
So it is depend on
Or sometimes are good role models.
time. Celebrity sometimes is a good role model. So it is depend on
Not it is depend on. It depends on. Depend is a verb, not it is depend. It depends on. This is present simple. We should know it.
their work. It is depend on their
Not it is depend on. It depends on. This is present simple. Very basic grammar.
honesty and behavior or something like that. So every actor or every celebrity is not good for their behavior. Maybe their
And again, it's just so rushed there.
not good for their behavior. Maybe
Behavior. Not good for their behavior. Problem with the but and the the. So very often, if candidates have a problem with put and the, they will also have a problem with but and the.
their maybe their work is admirable, but personally maybe they are not a good person. So I saw many celebrity whose work really good, but they are
Okay, I've seen many celebrities whose work, I really like that relative clause, whose work is really good, maybe.
not a good person in their real life. So
But again, we don't get details. What makes them not good people in their real life?
I
Or at least what makes them not worthy of being a role model?
according to me, all kinds of
According to me, we don't use. So according to somebody else, but we don't use according to me. You know, I believe, I think, if you ask me, to my mind, all of that's good stuff, but according to me, we don't use. According to my mother, according to my father, according to this person, according to that person, but not according to me.
a celebrity is not real model.
And do you think we get more inspiration from public figures or from people in our personal lives?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Do you think we get more inspiration from public figures, people like celebrities or politicians, or do you think we get more inspiration from people in our personal lives, like our friends or our family? So, just a point on this. In part one, you can ask the examiner to repeat the question, and the examiner can repeat the question. In part three, you are welcome to ask the examiner to explain the question or to rephrase the question.
Yes. I think yes. We can inspired by them.
We can be inspired by them, but it's not clear, right? Because the question is an either or. Are we more inspired by public people or by people we know in our personal lives? Yes, we can be inspired by them, but them is an ambiguous pronoun. We don't know who you are talking about. Are you talking about public people? Are you talking about people we know in our personal lives? It's not clear.
Like I sometimes I watched some videos from YouTube, TEDx videos. That videos, some of celebrities gave speech. So I really
Speech.
like, and they motivated us. So it is really helpful. So when
So now I get the point that means she's talking about public people, but maybe she didn't quite understand that the question isn't either is it this one, or is this one more than this one? And she answers yes.
whenever I watched that kinds of video, I felt uh, uh, some charging that charging me, and that encouraged me, and
I know what she means with charging me, but that's not really what we would use. Maybe, I don't know, energize me, not charging me.
that also inspired me. So that time I can set my goal, and
So this often happens in part three. Language becomes a bit more mechanical because the questions are difficult and it's tough for our brain to access all of the language that we need. And because we are just really trying to find the next word, our speech sometimes sounds like this. Just listen again.
that charging me, and that encouraged me, and that also inspired me. So that time I can set my goal and I can work by fulfill my goal. So
Fulfill my goal. Okay, achieve my goal, not fulfill. Fulfill my dream, fulfill my destiny, maybe, but achieve my goal, reach my goal.
yes, it is very helpful and people will be beneficial to.
Not people will be beneficial, it will be beneficial for people, or people will benefit from, but not people will be beneficial.
If they follow the celebrity or something like that.
Let's talk about motivation then. So, some people think that young people nowadays don't have enough motivation. What do you think?
Uh, According to me,
We don't use according to me. I think, if you asked me, to my mind, all of that's good stuff, not according to me.
I think young people
So we get 3 attempts there. According to me, I think.
got many kinds of motivation because
Again, we've gone back to the past for some reason.
now there are available some books. So
There are available some books, so wrong word order. Some books are available, or there are some books available.
whenever they log in their Facebook and they can get motivation from their Facebook. They can
I really like these whenever words, like whenever, wherever, however, whatever. I like that.
get motivation YouTube, and also there are lots of motivate person. They all the time try to motivate other. So in our country or any other country,
Just feels a little bit stressed. I don't know. Not that the candidate is stressed, but the answer just sounds a little bit stressed. Like, this often happens, I guess. Candidates feel a bit nervous and they don't quite know what they're going to say. So that they just want to say something and they keep talking, and this happens to me in my country. And but people can get access, they can log into their YouTube, and there's lots of books available. And sometimes when those ideas are disorganized, again, the examiner has to work hard and try to link those together. Now remember, it is the candidate's job to make coherent text, to link their ideas together in a skillful way that allows the examiner to understand your point effortlessly. It is not the examiner's job to listen to you carefully and think, I think this is connected to that part. The examiner shouldn't have to do that. And I am doing that a little bit, trying to make sense of her answer.
so before if I give you statistics, it is clear that before and after there are many difference, and nowadays
Just listen to that again. I know it's difficult to follow answers when I'm pausing everything, but I'll just play back. I'll just go back. Maybe I'll go back 30 seconds, or maybe just 20 seconds. Can you follow this candidate's idea here?
log in their Facebook and they can get motivation from their Facebook. They can get motivation YouTube, and also there are lots of motivate person. They all the time try to motivate other. So in our country or any other country, so before if I give you statistics, it is clear that before and after there are many difference, and
I don't get that. I don't know what statistics, what differences she's talking about. No.
nowadays the youngster got many kinds of motivation. So it is increasing day by day, not decreasing.
And what do you think is more important, motivation or discipline?
Okay, I prefer definitely.
Okay, again, we get an answer with okay. More important, motivation or discipline?
Okay, I prefer definitely discipline all the time, because motivational is the
Cool. I like that start.
things like you give me you maybe you give me some motivational speech, so now I can get some motivational type things, but it is really temporary. But if I maintain
Good vocab, it's really temporary, and I think that's a good point as well about motivation. It's temporary.
in discipline. It is really helpful to fulfill my goal. It is really helpful to fulfill my task
So it would be nice here if we get something that's the opposite of temporary, permanent or long lasting or long term. That would be nice.
every day. Discipline is the good things, and discipline is everything. If anyone maintains discipline, they can do everything.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the test. Okay, so I like that answer. I don't think it was perfectly well explained, but I like that answer at the end about motivation being temporary and discipline being more important. Again, it would have been nice to hear something like more long lasting or lasts longer or something like that. But it was a coherent answer right at the end. So good job there. Okay, marking. It's going to be tricky. So what can I say about fluency and coherence? Before I give the mark, I'm going to just write some of my thoughts. So I like, in general, I like the length of your answers. Not too short, not too long. I like the length of your answers. Most of your answers relate directly to the question, but you lose some coherence in part 3. So when we get to those difficult questions, understanding your ideas becomes a little bit trickier. More evidence for your answers would help you a lot. So instead of saying someone is hardworking, instead of saying someone is kind, instead of saying someone is supportive, give evidence of that. Give examples of that person being kind. You know, again, if I talk about like my sister, right? I could say, oh, my sister's very generous. My sister's very kind. My sister's very helpful. My sister's very supportive. Okay, good vocab, but look at this as an example. My sister is really generous. To give you an example, once I was walking down the street and, you know, a homeless person asked if we had any money, and I felt a bit bad, but I just ignored the person at the time because I was in a bad mood. But my sister, you know, she took the time to speak to this homeless person, and, you know, she didn't give money, but she asked like, oh yeah, is there anything I can do? And the homeless person said that they were very hungry. And, you know, my sister went to the shop and bought some food for this homeless person, right? That's a good example of a person being generous. It's not just listing qualities, but it's explaining the generosity. So yeah, more evidence for your answers would help you a lot. Anything else on fluency and coherence? There are, especially in parts 2 and 3, cases when you break down and you have to use repetition of ideas to keep going. So based on that evidence, but there's certainly, I think, not enough for the 7 for fluency and coherence, although she does keep speaking. I think I probably award the 6 for this. Maybe a harsh examiner might give a 5, but I think maybe there's enough for a 6. Lexical resource, this is a tricky one. Yeah, I think I'm going to give the 6 again. Initially, I thought maybe she had enough for a 7 for lexical resource, but what can I say? So, the candidate, you show a nice range of lexical resource, including many less common lexes. Including, let's go with a lot of less common lexes. Things like traumatized, for example. I remember that one, traumatized, temporary. You know, these were good words. You also used some topic-specific vocab, especially the qualities to describe your father. You used honest. Okay, you used some very simple words like interesting, and I think you used like he supports me a lot or something like this. So that, you know, that language is topic specific. Cool. However, it is very noticeable how you repeat a lot of vocab. Inspire, village, amicable. It's very noticeable. You think, oh, she's used that. Oh, she's used it again. Oh, she's used it again. So be careful with just how much you repeat the vocab that you use. It shows a lack of flexibility if you have to rely on the same vocab over and over. You also have problems with prepositions. I want to talk you, or I'm living a city, something like that. Okay, grammatical range and accuracy. This is the weakest one, but I think there is enough for a 5 in there. So you do show some good grammar, especially like relative clauses. There was enough in there that made me think, okay, it's not the 4, but I don't want to talk about the good stuff. You have extremely frequent. Frequent means it happens very often. Extremely frequent mistakes with present and past. It's just not clear from listening to you. Are you talking about the present in general, or are you talking about something in the past? Because you jump between them so often, and it's so difficult to really understand what you're talking about there. You also make regular mistakes with singular and plural nouns, and even some mistakes with the verb be. So this is the most basic grammar. The reason I'm not giving you a 4 is because I feel like there were other parts of grammar that were okay, that were decent, but the thing to focus on is just that basic grammar. Just present simple, past simple, verb to be, singular and plural nouns. You just get it wrong very, very often. Pronunciation, I think I can award the 6 for this. So the most important point, in general, it isn't too difficult to understand what you're saying. However, and also, you show good intonation in parts, but this is really sustained. So very often when you start answering the question, you have nice intonation, like, oh yeah, definitely. And then when you have to continue, the language breaks down and becomes mechanical, right? So if you have a question like, what do you think is more important, inspiration or discipline? And you go, oh, I think discipline, definitely. Because when you have the motivation, it is only temporary. So you begin your answers with very nice intonation, and then suddenly it breaks down into something a bit more mechanical. But okay, so this is really sustained. You have problems, and maybe it could be a 5 here. I'll keep it with 6, but you're on that border between 5 and 6. You have problems with a number of consonant sounds. P and f, b and v. The sound, ch sound, the j sound. I know that's y, but j. Let's go with j, like jazz. So you have a number of problems with consonant sounds, which sometimes makes it difficult for the examiner. So I think you can be understood, but the examiner has to remind themselves, when she says f, she means b. Or when she means j, she uses d, or something like that. So the examiner has to take that into account when they try to understand you. It seems a little bit unfair, because I thought maybe her performance, my impression was, probably a 6. But 6, 6, 5, 6, unfortunately, that gives you a total of... Overall, that gives you a total of 5.75, which rounds down to 5.5. So I thought maybe there was enough in there for a 6 as my impression, and it's certainly very possible that an examiner might give you a 6, but for me, according to me, according to the criteria that I'm trying to follow, I put your performance here as 5.75, which rounds down to 5.5. Now, what are some key points to work on? learn what it means to develop an answer. A lot of people think developing an answer or extending an answer just means continuing to speak. It doesn't. Learn what it means to like make a point and then to give an example or to give evidence of a point or to summarize a point or something like that. So learn what it means to develop an answer. That will really help you with your fluency and coherence, because I think you probably your natural fluency is okay and probably good enough to get a 7 if you can get that coherence a bit better, if you can learn the skill of developing an answer. Do some work with the phonetic chart. You know, really focus on those ch and zh, because it's almost every single time. I spoke to the candidate a little bit after her test about this, and she said that when she focuses on it, she can pronounce those words, but or was it this candidate or was it a different candidate? Sorry, I get confused. I've done so many speaking tests the last few days. So yeah, very often candidates, when they think about it, they can produce those sounds, but then when they're in the environment of a speaking test, then they break down. So really do some work with that phonetic chart, especially with those sounds. And finally, of course, probably the most important thing, you have to learn how to control your grammar. Now, I know there's a lot in the world of ESL, learning English as a second language or teaching English as a second language, about grammar, about, a lot of people say, don't think about your grammar so much because it'll destroy your fluency. But the advice I usually give is, if you are very fluent but not very accurate, focus on grammar. If you are very accurate but not very fluent, then, focus on fluency. And for me, the candidate is fluent and the candidate probably knows these grammar rules, but my goodness, almost every sentence there, with the most basic grammar, there's a mistake. Even if it's just simple, like practicing some tasks, like what do I do every day? Okay, every day I go to the gym, I go swimming, I cook food, I work, I have a shower. Okay, what did I do yesterday? Okay, I went to the gym, I had a shower, I worked. Just a little bit of training. I don't mean that you have to sit and do a bunch of grammar tasks. Just get into the habit of like giving yourself a task, a speaking task about the present, giving yourself a speaking task about the past, and focusing on that grammar, because that present versus past is killing you. Learning the rules with present simple and learning rules with verb to be, I just think you have to do it. But okay. Wow, 57 minutes. I've gone on for far too long. So those are the key points that I would advise this candidate to work on. I hope you found this video useful, instructive. I'm sure not many people stayed to the end, but I'm sure that our candidate Moni did. So not a bad job, Moni, but I think you can do better. And I expect in the real IELTS test, I really hope that you get at least a 6.0, and I think you have the potential maybe to get a 6.5. But I'll leave it there for now. As you can see above, I do free mock speaking tests, and if you would like to have your own mock speaking test with this kind of detailed feedback, please do get in touch. Information on how to contact me is given below. I'm also doing free writing checks at the moment. I get a lot more requests for speaking than I do for writing. So if you send me a writing check, I will almost certainly check it. If you send a request for speaking, I don't know, because there are so many requests now at the moment. If you do contact me, please be patient. I ask you politely not to send me 10, 15, 20 messages. It will not make me reply to you faster, I promise. I try to get back to as many people as possible, but I am just one person doing this, so please do be patient. But I'll leave it there for now. Almost at 1 hour. Wow. Okay. Have a wonderful weekend and see you all soon. Bye-bye.